Well, looks like I'm off to fight Dr. What? Where did you come from? Wily, not... I don't wanna. Fine, I'll go to you. Turbo Man. You know, an anagram for turbo is robot? Robot Man. Yeah. I really like the background designs in this game. Barbed wire, stacked tires, cotton candy clouds, and it's stuff that we haven't really seen too much of before in the Mega Man games. Keeping it fresh. I'm standing in front of the calculator warehouse, the TI, or maybe where they're keeping all the DVDs of the original Terminator movie. I should probably run, shouldn't I? Here's a good challenge. I don't think we've been chased by anything for a while. It's a little bit of distraction with the little enemies running around here, and then you get cornered, and then you're just gonna get spike poked. Wait, there was never any wall there to begin with. It's an open passageway. Maybe it was just a mental barrier that kept Mega Man cornered. Allow me to introduce a few friends of mine. We have Al, Lee, and Boop. Perhaps you've been acquainted. I like this Sniper Joe 01 enemy positioned up there. It's kind of classy, traditional. However, I'm not really enthused about this section. I don't mind the basic concept, but there's not enough time for you to get acclimated to the tire physics for this to be challenging for the right reasons. Just as you're starting to get a feel for this brand new thing that you've never seen before. There are spike pits, and all of a sudden you can die instantly as you're still trying to answer questions such as, how far do I bounce? Can I press through these things? How many licks does it take to get to the center of a Tootsie Pop? Wow, apparently they put holes in tires. Who knew? So the challenge comes more from the confusion of, oh, why am I spike pit, than from carefully timing your jumps to navigate through the narrow passageways. I do appreciate how timing and speed are the cornerstones of the challenges in Turbo Man stage. From the very beginning, you're being chased by the truck. You have a limited amount of time to take it out before you hit the wall. Then you have to carefully make your way through the tires, timing yourself to get through without being bounced into death. Coming up shortly is an area that requires timing and speed, or an indifference to fire pillars flying up your nose. Overall, the types of challenges form a cohesive feel to this stage, even if some of the individual challenges aren't as fun and make you want to bang your head against the wall. What are you doing now, Rush? That is a perfectly good traffic signal. Do you know how much it costs to replace one of those? I mean, don't care, too greedy. Wow, a free power-up that is crazy expensive in Auto's shop. 800 bolts for that. And what is that, you might ask? The Hyper Rocket Buster. The Hyper Rocket Buster, which, contrary to popular belief, is not used for busting hyper rockets. Instead, it extends the range of your punch with the super adapter and adds a homing feature to it. Very useful. And in fact, you can't get it from Auto's shop until you've returned Auto's Hyperbolt, which we won't find for a little while yet. Speaking of not finding things for a little while, Rush! Dig something! Destroy this traffic signal! I demand! Why are you just sitting there, barking, wagging your tongue, like a dog or something? Unless it's a clue. Perhaps a blues clue?
Mega Man, have you collected the R, U, S, and H circuit plates?
Have you activated your ocular sensors? How else would I be wearing this suit?
Cool.
Not cool!
But remember, the Super Mega Man armor is too bulky to allow you to slide.
How is that even relevant at this—
Good luck,
What?
Little brother.
Ugh.
I'll see you later. If you survive.
If I are you threatening me and giving me bad advice? You're such an older brother. Now, had that exchange occurred in Cloudman stage and vice versa, that would have made sense. You get the flame weapon from this stage. You might have already seen the woods. It's relevant to have that discussion here. Likewise, in Cloudman stage, you're still looking for the circuit plates. Maybe you haven't found them all. Maybe you have. But getting informed that there is a scavenger hunt and knowing what the reward is, woo, might encourage you to look, or look harder, for the circuit plates, though I don't really think we need any kind of information about not being able to slide in the armor, especially if you've played Mega Man 6. That'll be obvious right away. It's sort of like saying, Mega Man, by the way, your suit doesn't come equipped with a blender and sequins. Thought you should know. Nice. It really is like Mega Man 1 all over again, except these flame pillars feel a little more random. There's not a whole lot of opportunity to sit and watch their pattern. You either have to have amazing reflexes or practice excessively, which is what I do. Part of the problem is that you can't see as many of the flame pillars on the screen at one time as you might in a different Mega Man game, but I'll get back to that in a moment. Oh, it's like Quickman stage again, all sorts of throwbacks, and you can get all of the items through here if you want to die. Well, unless you project yourself all the way to the right before falling down the shaft there. That'll put you closer to the first power-up before triggering the flames. Any greed, back to what I was saying. The graphics in Mega Man 7 are bigger than in 1 through 6, and this bothers some people, and I understand that. There's less of a playing field because everything takes up so much more space. In the original games, Mega Man occupies roughly 1/100th of the screen.
Yeah!
Here he occupies roughly 1/40th. Well, that battle wasn't so bad. I mean, this truck can be a pain, but with the right special weapons, it's a sissy. So that sounds pretty drastic, right? 100th of the screen to a 40th of the screen. But if you think about the Mega Man Game Boy games, there Mega Man occupies roughly 1/40th of the screen, just like here, so there is a precedent. If you're going to complain about the graphics in Mega Man 7, at least have the courtesy not to single the game out. Be an equal opportunity complainer. Here he is, Turbo Man! Unfortunately, we're a few letters short. I could almost make an anagram rearranging the letters in his name to spell Burrito Man, but we're just a couple letters short. Turbo Man is a great example of a boss who has a predictable pattern, but is still a challenge. He does his Transformer shtick, and you can tell by the audio cue that it's time to pause, take a moment to reflect on failure. There we go. Now we're back in the game. Sometimes I just need to pause to distance myself from a losing strategy and let my skill catch up with me. So if you listen closely, over the sound of my voice, you'll hear that Turbo Man screeches his tires and then revs his engine just before launching himself at you. That's the audio cue. That. So it's less like testing your reflexes to dodge out of the way of a moving vehicle, and more like waiting for your cue to jump. One last timing challenge, and it's tricky to master. Oh, I love the way the flames fall away. Oh, gotta dodge the bubble. Look at me. Who am I? I'm Turbo Man. I'm 5 years old. Great, because now is the most appropriate time for that power-up. This is what I get for letting you hang out with Flip Top. One thing you might have noticed with my slidey tomfoolery, if you haven't noticed it before, there's a lot more animation for Mega Man transitioning from standing to sliding to standing, and the swooshy whooshy of his slide is pretty cool.
The Scorch Wheel launches a flaming wheel of fire. I went down, 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 and the flames went higher.
Yes, and
the wheel may also burn the things it touches. The things it touches.
You get a recording contract! Seriously, I could keep going. Scorch Wheel in the sky keeps on burning, right? Well, here's something you might appreciate if you're a fan of ghouls and ghosts and goblins and ghosts and goblins and kibbles and bits and bits and... If you hold down the jump button while selecting Shade Man... Oh-ho. Similar to the birds in the background you can get in Mega Man 2, here you've got alternate music, and not just for the stage intro, but for the whole stage. While we're having fun with anagrams, Hades Man, anyone? He's a real Hades man. Well, maybe not. That stray pixel on the moon, if you were wondering, is Scrooge McDuck hopping around. I like how these robots are rampaging through the middle of the city. The city of the dead, maybe. Where are we? And why is it suddenly nighttime? It was broad daylight in Turbo Man's stage just a couple minutes ago. Which, I might add, looks to be on the outskirts of the city at best. Don't fall apart while I'm talking at you. Some zombies have no manners. So as we saw at the end of Mega Man 5, you can sometimes have a lot of fun with weapons that have a homing capability. Mega Man must be contagious. Well, that's something different. Enemies appearing directly out of the background. I feel like I'm in Kirby's Adventure all of a sudden. Mega Man 7, more so than even Mega Man 6, does an outstanding job at creating a sense of place, a sense of location for these... locations. Away with you! I demand fresh junk! From the spooky glowing eyes in the background to these hard-to-kill... ravens. Everything in this stage makes you feel like you're in a creepy graveyard or a creepy gothic castle with these creepy crushy things that really don't actually have anything to do with vampires or castles, but they got bats on them. Well, okay, maybe it's like a torture room, but still. Cool stuff going on here. And more coolness to continue in the next room. Right this way, please. This is Van Pooken. This is not much of a mini-boss when you fight it that way. No! You had me there for a second. I was afraid you might want to have another squash in the room. Scorch Wheel. Good weapon. On its own. Alongside all the other weapons in Mega Man 7. Why do you need it? It fires fire forward. But Wild Coil fires forward and backward at a lesser energy cost to hit anything you might need to hit on the ground. So, barrier weapon? Yes, you can choose to hold the fire around yourself for a certain period of time before launching it at your unsuspecting foe, but Junk Shield is a more effective and reliable shield. So, aside from burning down the forest, there's really no need for Scorch Wheel alongside all of the other weapons in Mega Man 7. Not to say it's no good or no fun, but it's redundant, like all of the weapons from the second round of Robot Masters, at least to some degree. But I was praising Mega Man 7 for the atmosphere, the enemies, the backgrounds, the traps, all work in unison to form this feeling that you are in a specific location. Everything works together. We've come a long way from the earlier Mega Man games where your sense of location was, I'm in a flashy place with shooty things. Not that there's anything wrong with that, but we've come a long way. I think it's wicked neat that we've got some sort of transformation going on when the full moon comes out. Enemies turn into completely different enemies. It's great. Unfortunately, you will probably not see this if you're playing the game normally. If you've developed any sense of self-preservation, you won't stick around here long enough to see the transformation. Like Rush. Good for you, Rush. Mega Man's best friend knows better than to be worn down by wear and tear werewolves. Yet another entry in the book of great Mega Man ideas that never really went anywhere. However, the upgrades in this game are handled very well, especially the way you acquire them. You can be a treasure hunter and dig them up in the stages, the exit utility, the energy balancer, etc. Or you can grind for bolts like this is a Final Fantasy game and bring them back to auto, buy them in the shop. Or a combination of the both. Finding big bolts really speeds up the process, so you have that freedom to play this game any way you like. Ooh, and there's the energy balancer, if you want the upgrades at all. I like that portrait of Wily in the background, very foreboding, and it's got a frame like you'd see on a stage select screen. Nice touch. It's also a good place marker, making it a little more conspicuous where at least one of the bigger items is hidden. And speaking of things that are hidden, I think we missed a path, so let's go back, with the magic of video editing, to Van Pooken! Playing around with Van Pooken. Making a mockery of Van Pooken. There is a challenge to this mini-boss, I swear. The cracks in the floor give it away. Depending on whether you destroy the exterior or the interior of this mini-boss, you'll get a different passage out of this room. Letting the way you fight the boss determine which path you get adds more to the replay value than simply offering you this way or that way. And what's behind secret door number 1? A brand new car! Wait, no, we fought Turbo Man already. No, instead, it's one of my favorite parts of Mega Man 7.
So, brother, you're not as weak as I thought.
Yeah, Weeka Man would be a pretty lousy name.
Let's see which of us father made stronger.
Oh, boss battle! This is not only one of my favorite parts of Mega Man 7, but one of my all-time favorite boss battles out of any Mega Man game. It's very rare that Mega Man is truly evenly matched against an opponent, but here, that's what the case is. And Proto Man's another example of a boss that's got a predictable pattern, but is still challenging to master. He reacts to you. If you hit him with a fully charged shot, he'll change his attack pattern. And as you can see, you can technically get in a little bit of a hit if you aim a smidge above his shield and smack him in the head. This is also a fantastic throwback to Mega Man 3, fighting Proto Man one-on-one like this with the added challenge of his expanded moveset. Helps to keep the nostalgia from feeling stale. The only problem I have is that in order to get this battle, you need to find Proto Man in the right order. In Cloud Man stage, then in Turbo Man stage, then here. If you do it out of order, he won't show up. It would be nice if you could find him in any one of those locations in any order, and then after you found him 3 times, wherever you are at the time is where he fights you. That might have been cool. As it stands, pursuing the reward for this battle either infringes on your freedom to do the stages in any order, or adds a lot of unnecessary backtracking, especially when you have to choose between taking this path to Proto Man or the other one to the energy balancer. But it's over. Well fought.
Maybe you are the superior model, Mega Man.
Not until Mega Man 9, when they give you all sorts of penalties for being awesome.
Here, take this with you.
This is your Proto Shield. You can't give this to me.
Can't give it to you? Ha! Aren't you gonna ask me if lemons bounce off it? It's okay. Take it. And watch your back.
Aw, character development. And a little bit of humor. Watch your back. Alright, Mega Man, do me a favor.
Uh-huh.
Hold that pose.
Okay.
I'll get back to you.